South Korea is hosting an agricultural conference for African nations, which it hopes will relieve hunger. Now, rice is an important staple of some African countries, and South Korea has become a world leader in the grain's cultivation. Rob McBride has more from Seoul.
For the host, South Korea, this conference demonstrates its rapid development from a recipient of overseas aid to a donor nation which can now help others, especially in the production of food.
We will work to strengthen Africa's food security capabilities. We will actively promote agricultural transfer and contribute to increasing food self-sufficiency.
South Korean farmers have made pioneering advances in agriculture, none more so than in rice production. And its so-called K-Rice Belt project across parts of Africa is aimed at supporting farmers there. Agricultural centres help promote more resilient rice seeds, while spreading education and the use of new technology. What distinguishes Korean strains are their yields. Compared to many African varieties, Korean crops can produce more than twice the rice, at up to 6 tons per hectare. With young, rapidly growing populations to feed and a worsening climate crisis, more African countries are looking to increase production.
I would like to commend the K-Rice Belt Initiative launched by Korea, which is a testament to the fruitful partnership that Korea has forged with the African countries.
The goal is to distribute enough high-resilience seeds to African farmers in the next 3 years to grow rice for 30 million people. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Seoul.
Let's speak now to Machinda Marongwe. He's a South African program director at Oxfam. He joins us from the capital of Zambia, Lusaka. Thank you so much for your time. Now, if I'm correct in understanding, the main staple of the majority of African countries is actually maize. So why invest in rice?
Yes, rice is also grown in parts of Africa like Malawi. So you find that a lot of rice is grown there and in Kenya. So it is indeed a very good substitute for maize. And it's very popular in the region. So I would see a very strong business case to invest resources in its development and also, more importantly, to grow it efficiently and to improve the grain variety that is currently being produced. As you know very well, that the yield far lower when you compare to South Korean rice. So there is a very plausible business case for the K-Rice Belt project, actually.
Are there any concerns about this Korean rice adapting to the African climate?
Yes, concerns will certainly be there, but again, this has to go through rigorous training, rigorous tests, and as far as I'm aware, there are plans to ensure that, they will be not just directly, taken from South Korea to Africa, but they will develop varieties that will have been tested and adaptive to the region. But again, it is equally important to ensure that, in doing so, we are guided by local knowledge and expertise so that we don't end up in a situation where we are adopting rice specimen that will not be suitable for the region. But just to add that because of climate change and the resilience of most of the farmers in Southern Africa and Africa in general has been eroded. And what is needed is to have innovative methods to ensure that we increase production, not only of rice, but of other staples, to ensure that we combat hunger as it be.
It does sound like a very costly process, what you're describing. Who is paying for this?
Yeah, so I think in terms of this particular initiative, it is being driven by South Korea, and it is something that they have been testing. There have been some trial runs away in Kenya, and therefore there is this collaboration between the governments. But again, it is equally important to ensure that this is guided by science, and that whatever support that South Korea is giving is appropriate for the context, that we center the farmers in all the actions that are being done, so that the solutions that are being introduced are appropriate for the context, and that at the end of the day, we ensure that we protect local farmers who have been growing rice in the region, and that we improve their ability to adapt to climate change realities.
Yeah, as you say, there are quite a number of farmers in Kenya and other parts of Africa that this is their livelihood, growing rice. How are you going to ensure that you protect those smaller farmers from being marginalized?
I think the most important step is to ensure that they're included in the decision-making processes, and that the governments that are currently meeting in South Korea do have that broader stakeholder buy-in and consensus. And whatever outcomes from that meeting, it's also not just implemented before involving local farmers, to make sure that the solutions are appropriate, and also that there must be sufficient scientific research before any new varieties introduced in the region. To ensure maximum compatibility. We have, as Oxfam, been also working on different initiatives that are aimed to improve the rice, the grain variety, and working with local farmers. So the starting point is always to ensure that local farmers are consulted, local farmers are at the center of all the initiatives that are being pushed in South Korea right now.
Okay, thank you for your time. Machinda Marongwe, South African Program Director at Oxfam.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.